Hi, folks. Andrew here, Top Fitness Strategies. I am the face who runs the place. I'm your virtual personal trainer, and you're used to the 5-minute podcast that I do, but every so often I'm going to sprinkle in something different, something unique. And this time it's a very unique, and it's more than an interview. I'm interviewing a friend of mine from the internet, matter of fact. And I tell you what, instead of doing my traditional spiel and everything else, I'm going to go ahead and bring him on with me right now. JD, welcome to the Top Fitness Strategies, my friend.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. It's great to be here on another one of your shows.
That's right. And to go into open the curtains a little bit behind the scenes, me and JD, we have been going on each other's live streams, I guess not really podcasts, for the last, I don't know, 6 months, close
Yeah.
to a year coming up here. Because we're both wrestling fans, and it started around the WrestleMania, and I'm not going to get into it, but the professional wrestling fans, that is. And through the course of that, we became internet buddies, and we hop on each other's live streams, and they're not always about, matter of fact, mostly not about professional wrestling. And
Yeah.
so JD said a few weeks ago, he says, "You know what? You should have me on your Top Fitness Strategy show." I'm like, "That's interesting. Never thought about that, but here we are, and this is going to be unique." So anyway, JD, welcome to Top Fitness Strategies this time. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. I actually had physical therapy today, so I'm a little stiff, but I'm doing good.
Okay. Now, the reason this is unique, because I've never had a guest with the background, if you will, of JD. And I don't want to get into a whole lot of details myself personally. I'll let you get into it. So JD, if you want to share your background, where you're coming from, and why you're on here, and why this is going to be a very unique and a very important interview. So tell us about yourself, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I have what's called Arthrogryposis Multiplex Congenita. Okay. No, I didn't cough during that. It's AMC. It's AMC for short. And what it does is it affects the muscles in the joints during development in the womb. And it can range from mild, being you can only have it in your legs and in one of your extremities, maybe your legs or your arms, or even potentially as small as even on your wrists or your ankles. I fall in the more moderate category. I have it in my upper and lower limbs, and then there are more extreme category where your limbs are completely distorted. You're unable to even sit up, and usually those people are more confined to a bed.
So all that being said, so just to be clear, so you are in a wheelchair,
Yes,
correct?
I'm in a wheelchair. Yes, I have it in both my legs and my arms.
Okay, so that means you're not able to walk.
No, no walking. I used to walk as a kid with a very extensive physical therapy. I was able to walk with braces as a
Okay.
kid, but it was never really going to be a viable thing. The physical therapy was very extreme for me to be able to get my legs straight enough to fit into braces to be actually able to carry my weight and stuff like that.
Okay.
So it was never going to be a long term option. It was worth a shot. Sorry, now my mom's phone is going off there.
It's
Um,
okay. It's funny, folks. I'm laughing because JD and I talked about this before we went on air. She said, I turned off my phone, he turned off his phone. I said, we've both been through distractions before, because he has guests on his podcast as well. So he knows how it works on everything going on here. So
yeah,
a little bit of
um,
distraction there. So,
yeah,
all right.
that's all right. My bad. Yeah, with physical therapy, I was able to walk for a short time, but it was never going to be a long term option. I can't even imagine because of the physical therapy I had as a kid. You know, when you're a kid, you're developing, your muscles are developing. Having the kind of extensive and very rigorous physical therapy that I had, I don't know that that was probably healthy. I have very bad arthritis now as a result of that very strenuous physical therapy.
So you're not able to move your joints. Is that the way I understood that?
And yes, for the most part, my ankles are fused. There's almost no, I have almost no range of motion in my ankles. My wrists also, I have almost no range of motion in my wrists or my elbows. They're all fused. Wrists, elbows, and ankles all fused. I have limited range of motion in my knees, and in my shoulders, and then my hips are pretty good, except for I don't know if we're not sure if it's a result of the arthrogryposis or just the disability in general, or just something that I've developed. But I also have my right hip is it's called dysplasia. It's not displaced, but it's also not in the correct spot.
Okay. So let's back up a second. So when you say, yeah, things are fused together, to
Yeah,
me, in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, you have bones that basically, instead of being able to bend, they just came together as one. Is that
yes. Basically, I can show you with my elbow here. Here's my arm, but I
okay?
cannot move. This is my shoulder moving. I
Okay.
cannot move my elbow. I have no movement at the elbow.
Okay. And it's the same with both elbows?
Yes, both elbows. Yep, both elbows and my ankles are the same way.
Okay. Okay. What about your knees?
My knees, I do have some range of motion in my knees.
Okay. All right.
And
So
also in my shoulders. I have good range of motion in my shoulders, some range of motion in my knees, and pretty good in my hips, or at least I'm getting there as a result of my physical therapy. My range of motion in my hips has been getting a lot better as well.
okay, so which is a great transition to bring us into the fitness part of everything. And because when I look at fitness, I'm looking at, okay, muscle movement, body movement, things of that
Yeah,
sort. That's what I vision when I talk about the fitness. The health part is of the interior. Weird, I know, but that's the way I like to
yeah,
define the two. Okay, so
yeah,
when you go to physical therapy,
yeah.
so if you're not able to bend elbows and ankles and things of that sort, so what kind of things do you do in physical therapy?
Well, right now in physical therapy, they're doing is I got in because of my hip, because there was a problem with my hip, which they took X-rays, seeing that it's not displaced. They call it dysplasia. It's just meaning that it's not in the right place, but it's not disconnected or displaced from the rest of my body.
Okay.
So I went for my hips, and they again in my hips I have a good range of motion in my hips. So and now I have it even better. So what they do is they do hip flexors is one of the main exercises that they do. That's where they pull the hip backwards to like a behind you position, sort of as
Hmm.
much as I can, of course. And there's several other exercises that they have me do. Pelvic tilts, pelvic thrusts are ones that I currently am doing in physical therapy. And then for my shoulders, I just got added my shoulders. They just started. It's just basically stretching is really all my physical therapy is right now, is just stretching, just getting the muscle groups back, getting them, toned again, getting them. I don't want to say, when you haven't exercised in a while, you lose your muscles. They
Hmm.
atrophy.
Right, 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 right,
And I
right.
hadn't really exercised, not in a good way, in many, many years, you know what I mean? So, and we can talk about, like, the other stuff that I do, especially in high school, because I don't think I'd be in the shape that I'd be in without the base that I had from high school.
That's
So,
interesting. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Well,
but right now it's just been range of motion in my physical therapy, just trying to get my range of motion back and get all the muscle groups redeveloped, I guess is the right word.
okay.
Because when I first started there, they would have me do exercises, and I'm like, I can't, like the tilts, the pelvic tilts, for example. It's where you're supposed to flatten your lower back. You're laying
Hmm.
flat, and you flatten your lower back. You use your
Hmm.
the muscles around your hips and your pelvic to flatten your back, and it builds the muscle groups. When I first started here with physical therapy, I couldn't really do that. I'm like, what am I doing? I don't think I can do what you're asking me to do. And they said, no, you're doing it all yet. And then they told me, they're like, listen, activate your abdomen muscles, and then just get your back flat, as your lower back as flat as you can. And then in time, it was like 2 or 3 weeks, but in time, I actually was able to start. I felt the muscles. And then I was actually able to do it without doing my abdomen, without activating my abdomen. Now I can do that stretch or that exercise without activating so much of my abdomen, because I have the muscles. But at first, I was using other muscle groups to reactivate the muscles that had atrophied.
This is fascinating to me, because when you say your other muscle groups, because somebody in my position who does physical stuff all the time, the muscle
Yeah,
groups, legs, arms, chest, and things of that sort. But you're not able to do a whole lot with that. So when you're saying other muscle groups, what are you referring to?
like the muscles in your lower back, the muscles around your hips, on the insides of your thighs.
Okay.
The muscles that
Okay.
you use every day just by walking. You get up
Okay.
and walk, and you work those muscle groups.
Right.
I
Right.
don't.
Right.
I don't. So that's why they atrophy and stuff without the exercise.
Okay. All right. So, and this may be a silly question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. So you
No,
say though
there's no
everything's
silly
fused
questions in this
together.
episode.
What was that?
I said there's no silly episode or questions in this episode. No silly questions in this episode.
I was going to say you've never been a substitute teacher if you don't think there's any silly questions. I mean, but not in this episode. You got it. Okay. So if things are fused together, is there any way they can become unfused?
No, I've had
Okay.
surgery in both my hips to release the in my what was it in my hips? Yes, in my hips to release the joints to give me more mobility. They couldn't do it in my ankles because they're fused. There's nothing that they can do when they're fused. There's no surgery or anything that they can do, at least at the time that I was born. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
sure
Yeah.
if new things now. I'm also 42 years old. I don't know if I'm looking to get joints and stuff implanted or replaced. I haven't looked at like some of the new stuff that's out.
Okay.
So I don't know if some of that has changed maybe in recent years, but at least when I was a kid, there was once the joints were fused, then that was pretty much there's nothing they could do.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, 'cause I bring that up because I'm and you and I've talked about this. I'm a huge fan of DDP yoga. Diamond
Yeah,
Dallas Page is a former professional wrestler, who we both know. So
yep.
I didn't know if his style and how he how he goes about it can benefit your situation. I don't know.
Yeah,
Um,
I've looked at some of it. Listen, I if I could do some of it, if I could, like, if I had somebody with me that could like brainstorm with me, okay, how could I do this exercise? Then
mhm.
maybe. But he does a lot of stuff that's positions that are just not something that I could definitely do on my own.
Right, right, right.
So I would need
Okay.
somebody to help me with that stuff, which is why I go to physical therapy and don't just do stuff at home, because to do the kind of stretching and stuff that I need that person doing it.
Which brings up another question. So you're not, I don't want to say you can't because you can't, but you're not able to do these kind of different stretches on your own?
Some of the exercises, there are exercises that I can do at home, and that actually goes. Let's circle back around to how I built my base, and that was in
Yeah,
high
yeah.
school.
That's what I was going to
Eventually,
get
in my
into.
senior
Yes.
year in high school, the
Yes.
school became smart enough to realize that I wasn't getting anything from sitting and watching the other kids play basketball and football and all that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it took all the way through my senior year for them to figure that out, but they did figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
So they started letting me. Oh, I'm sorry, not my senior year. It was my freshman year. It took
Okay.
all the way through elementary school and middle school, and then in ninth grade, I actually had the same gym teacher that I had in sixth grade,
Okay.
which was really awesome because he always tried to get me involved as much as possible.
Right.
Believe
Right.
it or not, I had a lot of gym teachers who were just like, oh, watch, or do what you can, But
Right.
Mr. Martin, he always tried to get me directly involved in some way.
Good. Good. Good.
So he, my senior year, it was basketball, and I'm sitting there, and he's like, "You shouldn't be just sitting here. You should be doing something." And I looked at him, and I'm like, "Well, what do you got?" And
Mm-hmm.
he walked into the weight room, came back out with a 2-pound dumbbell weight, and he said, "Here, see how many times you can lift this." And that's how we started in ninth grade. We started with just a dumbbell. I would hold it in my hands crossed. I would have my arms crossed, so my left hand would hold the right side of the weight.
Mm-hmm.
My right hand would hold the left side of the weight. Instead of grabbing it like you guys do, the dumbbell, I would actually
Yeah.
hold it end to end. And then I would use my shoulders and do this motion and pick it up and lift it.
Okay.
Just like this motion.
Okay.
So, and that's what built my entire upper body. That's why I have a pretty strong upper body. My shoulders, my chests. I actually have pec muscles. If I took my shirt off, you would actually see I have.
Hey.
Actual pec
This is
muscles.
a G-rated show. Okay.
Hey, I'm saying you
Hey.
probably
Hey.
have the same, though. I'm just saying, but you don't really see people in wheelchairs very often that actually have like muscles like that. So, but I
Right.
do
Right.
have a
Right.
good upper body.
So, all right. So go back to your freshman year. So you start lifting the weight. So
Yep,
you
dumbbell
start
weight.
doing
Yep,
that basically on a daily basis. I'm assuming
yep,
because that's what you
yeah.
could do.
Every other day, 2 to 3 times a week. Whenever we had gym class, and I started with 2 pounds, went to 3 pounds. By the time I was done with my freshman year, I was at 5 pounds. And I was lifting it roughly or right around 100 times.
Wow. So did that continue all through your junior and senior and year
Yep.
as well?
Yep. Yep. In my senior year, they actually had a program at that point where you could take like a handicapped gym teacher.
Okay.
So, and she actually did Tae-Bo for one of the semesters. So I did do some Tae-Bo for one semester, but yes, the rest was in the weight room or the pool.
Okay. All right. So then I just hope I have a whole lot of other things. Yes, I'm familiar with Tae-Bo and absolutely loved Tae-Bo when it first came out. Um, and I don't dislike it now. I just found other things that I would prefer to
Yeah.
do. If you were able to do Tae-Bo then, would you be able
Such
to
as
do anything
such as I
similar to it
could.
now?
Such as I could. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not like, I mean, it's movement, you know what I mean? Throw
Yeah. Yeah.
punches, move my arms, throw punches, throw kicks. I do have range of motion in some of my limbs. So it's more for that. It was more about the motion, I think, than anything else. I don't know if I was getting everything out of it, but
Well, of
it was
course. Of
good
course. Yeah.
cardio. If
Yeah.
nothing else, it was good cardio, and it did build muscle because doing those things constantly,
Of
takes
course.
muscle to do. But it
Yeah.
was more that definitely affected me more on the cardio side, I think, than actual building of muscle.
Now, would you still be able to do something like that
Yeah,
now?
yeah,
Okay, I bring that up because if that's the case, and I'm going to go back to this again because I love the program so much. DDP Yoga uh, has a lot of similarities to Tae-Bo. Now you bring it up,
yeah,
just for the fact that he developed it, and when he does one-on-ones and other trainers like that, that he is on his staff,
yeah,
him being Diamond Dallas Page, they work with whoever the
yeah.
client is at their particular level. And I don't know how much research you've done with it, but I've done a lot of research with it, and the people who he has worked with and has benefited from it are incredible. And I'm not trying to sell
Oh
you on the
yeah.
program. I'm just telling you
No,
what's
it's
available out there.
oh yeah, it's amazing. And DDP yoga, we're not getting paid for this, but
Yeah.
DDP yoga is amazing. I mean, it's helped unbelievable. Some of his success stories are remarkable.
Oh yeah, yeah. And
I mean,
if I ever get him as a guest on my podcast, you're going to be the co-host too, coming on too. Just
I
let you
appreciate that, and I'll do the same for you if I ever get him on Mayhem Media.
know.
I'll definitely have you on as well. Hey,
Okay,
DDP is
so
nice like that. Maybe you never know.
that's absolutely, absolutely. All right, that was our commercial break for DDP Yoga. Let's
Yeah,
get
yeah,
back
yeah,
to regular scheduled program here. All right, so with your current wheelchair,
yeah.
do you have any way to, I guess, get out of it, or how do you?
And what physical
Obviously, it's a
therapy?
motorized wheelchair. Obviously,
Yeah,
that. And
yeah.
I'm not. I don't even know what I'm trying to ask here. But you're not confined to it, or are you confined
No,
to it?
no, no.
No.
When I go to physical therapy, I get out of the wheelchair and onto their table. I do all transferring myself. And that goes back to and that will go take you way back to my parents, who, when they
Okay.
first put me in the wheelchair, when I wanted to get out of it, would say, okay, figure out a way to get out of it.
Good for them.
So yeah, there was no lifting me in and out of the chair. It was as soon as I remember, my memories go back as far as I can remember them being like, if I wanted to get out of the chair, all right, get out of it.
Okay.
What do you want me to do about it?
Yeah.
Get out of the chair. You want to get out of it? You want to get on the couch? Figure out a way to get out your chair and get on the couch.
And you did.
And I did.
Yeah. All right. So, all right. So this what is the situation? What's it called again? The
Arthrogryposis multiplex congenital is the full name. Some people call it arthrogryposis for short, or you can go just AMC.
Okay, AMC. I would never be able to say the other one.
Yeah.
So AMC. So it affects all four of your limbs. Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Does it affect like from the the shoulders up at all, or
No, it's only the
the,
joints. It's only in
just
the
your
limb.
joints? So
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 it's
not your
yeah.
torso, nothing
Nope.
else.
Nope. Not the head, not the torso, just the limbs.
Okay. All right. And yeah, so I think I'm just fascinated on how the workouts you do. So you get yourself out of the chair. You go to do physical therapy. All right.
Yeah.
Walk me through how this works. And I want to do this because there's going to be other people who see this out there.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are, and I don't want people to ever give up hope on any situation.
Yeah.
And I know you're the same way as I am at this one.
Yeah.
Because just because this door is closing does not mean this door is closed as well. You can always find a different way to do it. So
Yeah, absolutely.
walk me through your physical therapy. So you go
All
into
right.
the
Well,
physical therapy room. All right.
yeah,
Just walk.
I go in, we go into the room, and the trainer or physical therapist spots me when I do the transferring, because the tables aren't bolted to the ground. That's the thing when I transfer, is that if I'm transferring on something that can move, then someone's got to be holding it still.
Well, yeah, it just makes sense, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So they hold the table still and also spot me, make sure I don't slip and fall. And what I do when I transfer is I put my legs up like onto the table first. Okay. And then I use my legs and my head to slide down the seat and use my legs to pull myself lower half first up onto the table. Once I get most of my body up onto the table, I have strong enough abs to just lift, to have to sit up, lift myself, and bring myself up over onto the
Okay.
table.
Okay. So when you say you can bring your legs up on top, so you can lift
Yeah.
your legs lift independently, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Because I keep thinking, okay, this is just a joint. So what about your knee joint?
The knees don't. They're pretty fixed. There's little movement, but not much
Okay.
in my knees. Very very
So
little.
so your ankles are basically in one angle. They're not going to move any other way.
They're pretty
Your
much
ankles.
straight, actually. They're not up. They're not angled up or down. Really, maybe a little bit downward, but they're almost even. Believe it or not, that's all. I think the is just under 90 degrees. I think it's somewhere around 82 or 80 degrees is where my ankles sit in relative to my, or where my feet sit in relative to my leg.
90 degrees.
Not quite. It's just under. It's just under 90 degrees.
So
They're
like
pointed,
you're
pointed
like you're
down.
sitting in a chair. Like you're sitting in a
Yeah.
chair.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're sitting in a
They're
chair with your feet on the floor. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, my feet, when I have my footrest customized so that my feet can be flat. If I sat on a couch or something like that, it would depend on how low I sit. But my feet are angled downward just a little bit. They're not quite at 90 degrees. They're angled downward just a slight, just like 5 or 10 degrees.
Okay. All right. And your elbows are basically angled as well.
Yes, yes. My elbows are angled and they are fused. There's no movement in the elbows.
Okay.
I've had
So
surgery. I had surgery on my right arm. Um, at the elbow, I have a scar at my elbow. Not so much anymore. I doubt you guys could see it on this, but I have a scar at my elbow. I have a scar on my wrist, and then I have a little scar down between my finger and my thumb. They went in to see if they could release the joint and do what they could do with my wrists.
okay.
But they were both fused, so they didn't do the surgery on the left arm because they were fused. If it's fused on the right, it's fused on the left. And also they kind of did it on the right because I was left-handed at the time. So they also didn't want the surgery to mess up my ability to write.
Okay.
So they
So
did it on
your
my.
hands and fingers are
I have movement in 3 of my fingers, in my thumb, my pointer finger, and a little bit in my middle finger.
and is that because the other ones are fused together or
I'm not sure about why I can't move the other ones. I think that has something to do with the nerves. I'm not 100% sure about like what the situation is with the other 2 fingers, because I also my feet are the same way. I have regular toes on my right foot and I can move all of them. And I can move all the toes such as they are on my left foot, but they're not like regular toes. I don't know
okay.
how to describe. I don't know how I would describe it to you. They're basically curled under my feet.
I mean, it's I would assume it's difficult for you to describe it to me because you and I had this talk before
Yeah.
because all your life you've been that way. So you don't know what another way feels like. Just
Yeah.
as I don't know how you feel because I've never been in that situation. So
Yeah.
it's basically, reverse, if you will,
Yeah.
if that makes any sense or not.
Yeah.
So,
No, no, it does make sense. Yeah. But no, and with my fingers, I've worked on, especially the dumbbell weights, because of the way I hold the dumbbell weights
mhm.
from end to end and using my hands to hold on to them. So that's actually helps build my forearm muscles too, because my fingers are actually doing some of the work holding the dumbbell. So it actually helps with my gripping strength as well when I do that exercise.
So you say you hold a dumbbell. So what do you do? Like shrugs? What do you do with the
Yeah, yeah,
the
basically
dumbbell?
shrugs. I hold it. I hold it. Remember, my left hand goes on the right side, so I have them. I have my arms crossed.
Okay, okay.
Okay, and then I just basically do this motion, just straight up. Just it's more in the shoulders and in the neck,
Okay.
And just basically just lift it straight up. And I can even just doing that motion without the dumbbell weight. I can feel it in my shoulders. I can feel it in my upper arms. I can feel it in my chest. I can feel it in my neck just by
Okay.
doing just by doing this. So
Now, when do you have to be, lack of a better term, supervised when you lift weights like that? Or can you do that like if you go to
no,
your bedroom or in
yeah,
your
I can
room,
do
you just
that.
do
I
it
have
yourself?
weights that I have at home. I don't do a lot of it. I'm going to get back into it now that I've gotten my physical therapy going and I'm feeling good again. So I'm going to probably start doing some weights at home again now. But yes, I do have weights at home and I can do the exercises that I do without anybody spotting me or anything. I wouldn't
Wow.
increase the weight. Like I wouldn't go beyond the 5 pounds without
Right.
someone else
Right.
being there to spot me at that point, because I don't want to pick it up and then have it drop and have it fall on my foot or my toe
Okay.
or my knee or
Okay.
other important body parts. So
Now, I also this has been in the back of my mind since we started this. I want to make sure we say this for who's ever watching at this point. When it comes to, um, of course, the physical part of everything, you are pretty much limited for a lot. But when it comes to computer stuff, and when it comes to, I guess, mental stuff is not the right
yeah,
word, but because you and I
yeah,
talked about this as well. I mean, you can type and do
yeah.
stuff online probably better than most people out there.
Yeah. The AMC is not a disease that affects anything in the brain or affects the development of the brain or anything like that. So I'm completely competent, cognitive, control of my faculties.
Well,
All of
let's not go that far, there, dude.
well,
I've been with you online before. I know.
yeah,
Hey, we can
absolutely.
do this, folks. We can do this. All right. We've been on several shows together, so we can do this. So,
Yep.
um, and while we're on this, I'm going to say JD is also a founder of two or three different kind of podcasts within one media company. So, tell folks, let's plug your media company in a little bit
Yeah,
here.
well, yeah, I started I started Mayhem Media. Actually, I started the Boiling Point podcast first, and again, that's as a result of not having anybody, like, not finding a job. Like it was, finding a job is a gigantic pain in my butt beyond
Hmm.
anything else. That's one of the worst things that I hate more than anything else. And I really hate to hate stuff. Like I try not to hate anything. It takes far too much energy, but I really hate looking for jobs.
Hmm.
So I just got tired of it. Um, so I have an art business, JD Designs, where I color those fuzzy posters. And I started with that that was many, many years ago. And then in 2020, with everything that was happening with the elections and everything, I was like, I didn't want to just sit on the sideline. I was like, I can do something. And I just remembered advice concerning something else that my one friend told me. He said, don't wait, start now. Even if you have to start at the low end, just
Hmm.
start. So that's what I did. I bought a webcam, I bought a microphone because I wanted to at least make sure that the video and the audio quality were good, because I know that when I'm watching stuff, that's one of my biggest things. If the audio is not good, if the video is not good, I'm
Right.
probably not going to keep it on very long. So I got myself just a simple webcam, a good microphone, and started shooting podcasts. And that's how it started.
Wow.
And then it
And
blossomed from there.
so you started off in the political realm, but then
Well, actually, everything was on the Boiling Point podcast at start. We would talk about whatever. Like we would talk about things from the political side all the way to the entertainment side, TV, movies. And then
Mhm.
after and it took several, probably 4 or 5 people that I trust their opinion. And it took all 4 or 5 of them to tell me, you should separate the brands. You're not Joe Rogan. Because that's what I thought. Because when I thought, I'm like, well, Joe Rogan has these guests on. There's no like
Mhm.
defining factor with his show. He has people on and they talk about anything. It ranges from everything and anything on his show. So I thought, yeah, I could do the same thing. Well, I'm not Joe Rogan yet.
Not
That
yet.
burst my bubble a little bit. But so yeah, I separated the brands, and that was it was a good decision. It was a good decision to separate the brands. Both have grown since doing that, in a much better way.
So you have the Boiling Point podcast, and the
And
other
then
one is
Mayhem
what?
Media. Mayhem
Mayhem
Media is
Media.
what I started. Yep, that's the entertainment. When we started that in 2022, I started podcasting in 2020, and then in August of 2020, and then in January of 2022, Mayhem Media was born, and we started doing all of the entertainment stuff under the Mayhem Media stuff. and then anything political, faith-based, world news, even personal stories. We've had several guests on who are just on to tell their personal story as well. So, and that all stays on the Boiling Point podcast side.
Well, and I tell you what, you can obviously you're going to have access to this one, so you can do what you need to with this podcast as well, if you want to put on one of yours and everything else. So, JD, I tell you what, I only asked for 30 minutes of your time for this. 30 minutes are up. This has been great. Is there anything that you want to say or talk about or bring up that I didn't hit on or we didn't touch on?
The only thing I maybe would want to say before we close out is to make other people in wheelchairs that exercise is just movement. It's not it doesn't have to be perfect. Figure out the way it is, what works for you, and then do it. Trust me when I say that not only will you look better, you will feel better if you exercise. Okay. Like, I don't care. Even if you're not in bad shape, even if you're not overweight, exercise, it will make you feel better. So that's what I would leave for, not just people in wheelchairs, but for all your viewers. Just go exercise, do something. You will feel better.
It's funny you say that, because my tagline is look better, feel better, gain some confidence. So that's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
And, you hit the nail on the head with that one. And folks, that was not even pre-planned. Look at that, huh? Great minds think alike on this one. So
yep.
Appreciate it. So, hey, tune into the Mayhem Media podcast and the Boiling Point podcast. And if anybody wants to get a hold of JD and not able to, if we can't find him, whatever, you can always contact me. I got a direct line to him. Him and I are buddies, and hopefully this is going to go on for a long time, as long as we're on the internet here. And one of these days, we promised each other we're going to get together, and I'll have a drink and he'll do other stuff.
Yep. I might even join you for a drink. I'll do it on occasion with, in a social environment, but never by myself.
There you go, my friend. All right. So I'm going to end it here. JD, thanks for being the guest. Top Fitness Strategies. My name is Andrew, your virtual personal trainer. I am the face who runs the place. So until next time, this is me and JD. Ciao.